Hello and welcome to this edition of Roland Sports. I'm Tyler Rowland, and we're starting a focus on Fork Union Military Academy. You'll see amongst the videos released over these next couple weeks, you'll see several interviews with the Fork Union Military Academy coaches and players. And with me, have the honor to introduce head coach Bob Williams. And Coach, it's good to see you here. And first off, talk a little bit about your background and what you bring to the academy.
You as a Marshall alum, you know West Virginia a little bit, but I did spend 24 years in West Virginia coaching. Basketball brought me there from New York State, where I'm from, and coached 5 years as the head coach at Glenville State, and then moved on to WVU Tech, West Virginia Tech, for 17 years.
Mm-hmm. And what would be some of your accomplishments during that stretch?
Well, you know, both programs weren't in great shape when I took over Glenville State, so we rebuilt the program there. It took a couple of years, and ended up having some real good teams there. And then, you know, I went from, in New York State, I went from the #1 junior college in the state of New York to the last place team in the state of West Virginia at Glenville. So as a young 30-something-year-old, I had to learn how to coach in a hurry, you know, having not as much talent. But then we rebuilt Glenville somewhat after 5 years, and I moved on to West Virginia Tech. And that was challenging because we went through a lot there, a lot of adversity. And but the last 10 years there, we were pretty solid. The last 5 years, we went to 4 NAI national tournaments, and our last team was 30-5. And was number 3 in the country, and advanced to the Sweet 16 in the national. So we had success, several All-Americans and good teams, and it was a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Coach, talk a little bit about Coach Lake. You guys have worked very well together, and talk about what he brings. Of course, we'll have an interview coming out with him as well this week. Talk about what he brings to the program.
Oh, Bobby Lake's been great. I've known him for many years, and he's a West Virginia Tech alum. Obviously, he didn't play for me. He's a little older than I am, but we got to know each other. Him as an alumni and alumnus, and he helped me with recruiting in the DMV area, and would come and visit our teams when we were out in the DMV, or he would come visit us on alumni games and things. And his dad actually lived in Montgomery, West Virginia, for a while, so we became good friends, and know his boys well, and he knows my kids well, and then when I got the Fork Union job, he was 2 hours away, and I invited him to join the staff, and so he's a very knowledgeable, experienced basketball coach that had a long time successful high school career, and really understands the business well. Absolutely loves the game of basketball as much as anybody I've ever been around, and we're fortunate. He just has a lot of enthusiasm. He loves kids. He loves player development. He loves seeing people get better. And he's a big part of our success, any success we've had the first 2 years here at Fork Union. And it's really a big help recruiting the DMV and DC area and Northern Virginia. And then he's expanded now, and this year he's really done a great job recruiting nationally.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And Coach, over the course of your career, you've won championships. You've had players go on to have great success. And what do you usually tell people just getting into the coaching business? What is the advice that you give when it comes to turning around a program or running a program to success?
Well, you know, you got to pay your dues. As a young person, some people don't understand they have to pay their dues. I remember when I was a Division III assistant coach in New York State, I worked for Jerry Welsh, who had won 2 national titles in the 1980s at Potsdam State College, a Division III school tucked away in the base of the Adirondack Mountains, where it's very cold in the wintertime, and almost 6 hours from New York City. So, you know, I made $1,200. I was 25 years old, made $1,200, lived in a vacant dormitory for coaches, and with no meal plan, and I was expected to be in the office at 9 o'clock. You know, I don't know how many kids, that was kind of a long time ago though. You know, I don't know how many people do that nowadays, but you know, that's called paying your dues. And next year, you know, I got a bump up and raised to 8,000. Then the next year it was 12,000, and then after that it was 22,000, and then that allowed me to end up getting my own head coaching jobs. And so I was fortunate to learn from him. My father was a college coach also, and I played for my dad in college. He was an All-American basketball player also. So I've been around him, and I learned a lot, obviously, from my father in basketball, and then I learned a ton from my high school coach, who was a New York State Hall of Fame coach. And all three of those guys are in the New York State Hall of Fame. So and my point is, I was fortunate to work for good people, play for good people, and learn from good basketball people while I paid my dues as an assistant coach or a player or a young coach. And I was fortunate to have great mentors. And so that they helped me mold my philosophies as a coach later on in my career. And but paying your dues, learning from people that have had success, being patient. You know, I think a lot of young people don't want to be patient. And in this business, you have to be patient and then continue to learn. And even as a coach with over 30 years experience, I continue to try to get better in my craft and learn. And then one example would be when I came out into coaching, nobody was using ball screens. Ball screens kind of were around in the 60s, 70s, and then went out during the 80s and 90s, and then came back around. And so the game evolves with the three-point line, especially. The game has continued to evolve, and you have to continue to learn.
What would be a neat fact about yourself that maybe not a lot of people know?
I'm 5'5". I played at college basketball. You know, so that shows you that it's not always about height. Heart over height, you know. Yeah. And I was a bulldog, and I had a lot of heart. But you know, I don't know what other fun. I don't have too many fun facts about me, but that's one. But I came from a basketball family. I was a gym rat, and both myself and my two brothers played college basketball, and my dad was an outstanding college player, and my son is now a college player down in Texas at Collin College, and he's very good. I always tell people the talent level skipped a generation because my father was an All-American. I wasn't very good, and my son is very good.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, we really appreciate your time, and be sure to stay tuned over the next couple weeks. This will be the first one coming out. We're going to have interviews with Coach Lake, who's on staff, and we're also going to have interviews with some of the players as well, and we look forward to getting those out. And we thank you for tuning in. I'm Tyler Rowland, and we thank you for watching this episode of Rowland Sports, where you meet the athlete.